And we're so glad you're here. We are so glad you're here. So thanks for carving out space and time. You've come from all across America. A few people come from outside North America. And we're so thrilled that you would invest this time with us. And we just believe in great things. We do, like Christian said, sort of have a twofold purpose. I want to sharpen, I want to learn, I want to get better, I want to grow. But on the other side of that, and one doesn't have to cancel out the other, we just all need more of Jesus in our lives. And I'm really praying that whatever you need this weekend, that God will meet you at that place of need. And I pray even that tonight, it's just been an entryway for you into a mindset for these few days that we have together, that you don't have to be a superhero in the economy of God. There already is one in our story. So we've been carrying this message this year called Goliath Must Fall. Thank you, Brad and Levi, for that clap. Appreciate it. We felt like the world needed one more book on David and Goliath's story. We'd only heard it, all of us, 1,000 times. So why not, expand that message and put it in book form, unless there's something in the message that's different. And I know that was the case for me, and thus that's why the book. I've been down in some hard places in life, and I've talked about that a lot over the last few years. I've become the poster child for anxiety, and that's been awesome. I've left indescribable and laminin way behind, Levi, and now I'm the anxiety guy. And that's been such a joy to travel around and be in front of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, telling them that I fell down in a really deep hole of depression and had no clue how I fell that far down that fast, and really feared for my life down in that hole, because I was thinking not like preacher talk, because I never envisioned giving another talk about 3 or 4 months into being out of commission in life. I never really was envisioning what it would look like on the other side, and writing books and trying to encourage people in dark places and people with all kinds of giants in their lives, not just depression or anxiety. And I never really could see my way out, because I thought, honestly, not preacher-y, that I was going crazy in those months. I thought this is what it's like when people go crazy. But yet, I'm here tonight by the grace of God, and I never lose sight of that. It's part of my story. And so when Levi says what he says about suffering and about going through hardship, I understand that on some level, because I never walk onto a stage now. I never am in a place like this where I'm in my right mind. I mean, for the most part, depending on who you ask. I have the light of Christ in my eyes. I have the wind of the Spirit inside of my heart. I am in my zone, exercising my God-given gift. And I never take that for granted. And I always walk into moments like this and say, but by the grace of God, I'd still be down in that hole. And so I feel like out of that place, I can encourage people who are facing up against giants. We went to Israel a few months ago, and we went to the Valley of Elah. And that's where I took this picture on my phone. The mountain's a lot steeper, and when we put it in the perspective and the ratio for the screen, it flattens it out a little bit, but it's really massive and a steep hillside. And if you look across this farmer's field over here, there's another mountain on the other side, and I wanted to sort of test reality, because I think all of us are like, this Old Testament is pretty lights out. Did it all really go down like that? So I walked out into that farmer's field a little ways, across that little creek bed there where all the smooth stones are still there. And as I walked into his field, I just went, "Hey!" And my voice just reverberated as far as you could hear on that mountain. And I was like, man, it went down right here. 40 days of that until David showed up. But here's the thing about this story that I just want to lift up tonight, because I want us to break through tonight, whatever it is that's got its foot on our throat. Whatever giant has got its foot on our throat. And it could be addiction. It could be rejection. Somebody's just been playing from behind the 8 ball so long, you just think that's normal life. You've just coped and adjusted for so long that you think the victim mentality and the lens of that is just the way life works. But that rejection is a giant. It's suffocating you, but it's also stealing away the glory of the God who made you uniquely you. It could be anger. You know how it burns on the inside and we think we're going to really make them pay this time. We're really going to get even this time. We're going to show them this time. And then all of a sudden our eyes open and we realize we're not burning their house down. We're just burning our house down. It could be depression or darkness or dread or panic or worry or fear. There's a lot of giants in this story of ours. And whatever one's in your world tonight, I think God is just wanting to breathe into that space hope. And that's the beauty of this story to me. I see in this story the power of worship and the preeminence of worship in whatever fight that you're in. So you know the story. I don't have to rewind the whole story. Don't have time really anyway. But at the end of this story, this verse just jumps out for all of us. Verse 45, 1 Samuel 17, when David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with a sword and a spear and a javelin." That's pretty serious when it's a 9.5-foot undefeated, uncircumcised giant from Gath, from a whole messed up family of giants. This guy's got brothers that have got too many fingers and toes. They're all jacked up, Goliath's family, and they've been terrorizing people all their lives. And David sees him coming, sizes him up, identifies his weapons, but then David says the line of all lines in this text to me. He says, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." Now he could have said, "Hey, I'm pretty good with this slingshot, bro. And you're about to find out. And I've got my shepherd's rod in the other hand, so I got 5 rocks in the pouch, 4 in the pouch, 1's already in the sling. I'm pretty deadly with this thing, and my plan is something like this. I'm going to hit you right between the eyes with this rock. It's going to stun you and daze you. You're going to fall and stumble, and when I get up to you, I'm going to take this rod, and I'm going to finish you off." This is what he said to Saul. "Let no one lose heart on account of this giant. Your servant will go and fight him." And they said, "There's no way you can do this. You're not qualified. You're too little. This is going to be a train wreck." And he says, "No, I got a track record. I've killed a lion and a bear before." And all these men sitting on the hillside are like, "I think he said he killed a lion and a bear." I would have liked to have seen that. I'm sure it was like a little baby cub, and he probably grabbed it and killed it. Look at him. He's 14. He said, "When it grabbed the lion from our flock, I went after it. And I grabbed the lion from its mouth. When it turned and came toward me, I seized it. And I struck it. And I killed it." But then listen to what he said. "And the same God who delivered me from the mouth of the lion and the bear is going to deliver me from this Philistine giant today." This is what blew me away. This is what opened this story up to me. This is what changed everything for me. And this is what kind of squeezed a lot of this book out of me. I realized that it's not the way I had been told this story my whole life, that I wasn't David in the story of David and Goliath, that Jesus is David in the story of David and Goliath. And I didn't have to hear the story like I heard in middle school when that guy was pointing off the stage and all that energy, because almost anybody can preach this text, right? You can just like drive up and say, what do y'all need me to do? Just preach David and Goliath. Anyone can preach this text. And this guy was on fire, and he was pointing over in my direction, and I'm pretty sure he was looking right at me, and he said, even a little middle schooler like you could take down all the giants in your life. And I was like, he's pointing at me. I know he's pointing at me. I'm the smallest middle schooler at this retreat right now. And I mean, it was like somebody lit my hair on fire. No kidding. Me and 3 of my buddies went out that night. We scoured the campsite for 5 rocks after the session was over. There were no smooth stones. We weren't anywhere near running water, but we did find 5 rocks eventually. We brought them back the next night and consecrated them at the altar, because that's what you did when you were in middle school. I didn't know what consecration meant. I didn't have a clue what that was all about. I just knew there was going to be something special in our lives, and we had our rocks, and we had the word, and we knew we were David, and we could take down giants. But here's the thing, you fast forward to this room tonight, you were at that retreat, a lot of you. You were at that backyard Bible club. You were at that high school conference. You were there. You've been there. You know that. You've heard that message. But here we are in this place tonight, and you're 36, not 16. You're 27, not 17. 34, not 14, and a lot of us have the very same giant standing in our story on this night that we did on that night. And I'm telling you, it's because the hope of this gospel isn't that you hulk up and bulk up and go take down a giant. The hope of this gospel is there is a giant slayer in the house tonight, and his name is Jesus Christ. He's already, by the power of Almighty God, taken down every giant there is. And when I learn that I can walk in his finished work, I can access his finished work, then I have that opportunity for power in my life. David said, you've got a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I have a name. Man, I've got that Michael W. Smith thing in my life right now, and I can't get it out, that surrounded thing. Does anybody know that? How many of you don't know it? Because that's going to be more of a determiner whether I sing it or not. How many of you do not know it, have not heard it? See, now you don't want to put your hands up and show me that. Man, you know, when you get one of those songs in your heart that says everything you believe in, which is you don't win by might and by power, you win by the Spirit of God. And you don't fight with javelins and swords and spears. You fight with worship. Worship pierces the darkness and leads us into the light. Worship gets our eyes off the giant and lifts our eyes up to a great and a glorious God. Worship is what reminds us that it's not us who fight, but it's God who fights for us. David knew that he wasn't David in the story of David and Goliath. He said, oh no. Don't pat me on the back for killing the lion and the bear. I'm just trying to let you know this is going to go okay. I'm not looking for credit here. Oh, he's a lion killer. Go get him. I'm just letting you know that you don't need to worry about me when I go down to fight the giant. But I also want you to know it's not going to be me that kills him. It's going to be the same God that gave me the power through his Spirit to kill the lion and the bear, that's going to give me the power to take down this giant. So how's that Michael W. Smith thing? Any worship leaders here? Any worship leaders here? Who's a worship leader and knows this song? Yeah, that gentleman. So it's me and you, bro. Yeah. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I that's the whole words. If you're waiting for the next line. This is how I fight so you already know it. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. You just keep that. How? By getting our eyes up. By lifting our eyes up higher. By lifting them up above the giant. Oh, we're not saying there's not a giant. That's not our theology. I refuse that giant in the name of Jesus. No, it's giants right there. But I'm going to lift my eyes up higher. This is how I fight my battles. This is how, with the weapon of worship, that's how. Isn't that it? What's that second part? When it seems like I'm surrounded. When it seems like I'm surrounded by you. When it seems like I'm surrounded by you. When it seems like I'm surrounded. It's like, look on the hills, there's chariots of fire. That's why I say, this is how I fight my battle. This is David. Yeah. This is David. Yeah. Thank you. You did beautiful. This is David in the valley. I'm coming at you with a name. That's how I fight. I fight with a name. And when it looks like I'm surrounded, just like Elisha, no. I'm surrounded by you. That's who I'm surrounded by. And God's not asking you tonight to get big and strong. He's asking you to remember that He is. And He's asking you to come join in a song of a galactic God who's great and mighty. This David, his God was big. Not just a little bit bigger than Goliath. Not 11 feet tall. Not 9'8". His giant spoke the galaxies into existence. And yours did too. And so David says, come on and sing a song. It's Levi's fault because he made us look through that Hubble telescope. But think about this. There's a Vela pulsar 1,000 light years away from Earth. A light year, Levi, is 5.88 trillion miles. That's how far light's traveling. How fast light's traveling. 5.88 trillion miles, 186,000 miles a second, light's flying. This guy is spinning 11 times a second on its axis because it's a highly magnetized neutron star. But we aimed a radio telescope at it, so we've not only seen it, we've heard it. And some of you have heard it before, but this is what it's doing right now, right this moment, as we're at lift. See it emitting that radio frequency out the side? That's what it's saying. Isn't that crazy, right? But you're probably asking the question, you can bring that down just a hair. You're probably asking the question, why is it doing that? Because it was made to worship God. You go a little further out to this globular cluster called Tuck 47. It's made up of about 1 million stars. That highly concentrated cluster is about the size of the moon in the night sky, and in it are 22 millisecond pulsars. They're not spinning 11 times a second on their axis. These pulsars are spinning thousands of times a second on their axis. Same radio telescope. And when we listen to the millisecond pulsars in Tuck 47, this is what they're doing right now. Now this is a little risky at a worship leader collective, because some of you are like, yeah, there's a girl playing violin in our band right now, and I think that's her playing on the soundtrack. Why are these millisecond pulsars doing that? You tell me. Because they were made to worship God. You thought stars only shined. Did you know they sing? There's a whole universe praising God right now. There's a symphony of praise happening right now, not just in the cosmos, but this guy is in it as well. He's doing his part. I put him in just because you've got that guy in your church, right? Trying to get on the worship team. When are the next auditions? I would really love to add my gift to the mix. Like Fresh Life Church is accepting volunteers right now, online. And then there's this little guy, because the psalm says, praise him, small creatures and all you flying things. And this little nightingale is singing. Why is he singing? Why is he singing? No, because he's alone. He has no mate. The nightingale sings mostly at night, thus the nightingale. And the male sings the best and the most when he's alone and has no mate. He's still singing his song. And because he was made to praise God. And so I just imagine in my crazy mind, what is it like with every wave and every bolt of lightning and every gust of wind and every baby's cry is in this symphony, because God made everything that has breath and every created thing to worship him. So we tried a little mashup, because I think it's important that you know there's a symphony going on, that God is not 10 feet tall, but he's cosmic and galactic in scope and size, and he's fighting for you right now. And Jesus not only is fighting for you, he has finished fighting for you, and he has taken the heart out of the enemy and silenced his voice of deception and given us a path of truth and a path of life. There's a great symphony going on. I tried to figure it out. We only got 4 things, so that's not too much for a symphony. Symphony has a lot more in that, but so we just tried this because it'd be awesome if we knew what we're a part of tonight at Lift. So we started with that Vela Pulsar guy, and this is him, but that's not cool or groovy at all. It's not very symphonic, and it's making my anxiety act up. So we're going to slow that down just a little bit. We've just got a little controller. Some of you are, I would never do this at another conference. We've got it duct taped on. It's just a little controller that's Bluetooth to a computer over there that's running Ableton. So some of you are like, how's all this work? Something like that. Let's tape it back just for... You'll learn about that in the breakout tomorrow, the duct tape breakout. It's our favorite breakout. Is that feeling a little bit better? So we're going to put the millisecond pulsars in. And the whale. So you think about it, that's a few things. Pretty amazing that God's being worshiped by all of creation. Not all of humanity, but all of creation. And yet here we are tonight, with hearts that have been made alive by the blood of Jesus. Raised up out of the grave by the power of the Holy Spirit. Breath in our lungs. Breathed into us by God himself. I don't care about any millisecond pulsar. They never got saved. They never revolted and went away to another cosmos and said, we don't need that God. They're just up there doing what he made them to do. I ran away. I turned away, and he still found me and put breath in me. Oh, we forgot the nightingale. I'm sorry, buddy. There he is. So we got a little something going, but if God's inviting you with the breath he gave you, if he's inviting you with the life he gave you to join in and say, you come along and sing the song, not lead the song, come and sing the song. Don't need to be on a stage, just get where you can see me real good. And when you can see me real good, just do whatever comes natural to you when you can see me real good. Because that's what you were made to do. You weren't created to get on a stage. You were created to have a relationship with the God of the cosmos, who breathes out stars and who inhabits the praise of everything he has made. You may be called to lead. You may be gifted to lead, but you were created to worship God. Oh, man. So let's join them. You want to? Come on, let's join them. You did a good job already, friend. So come on with me now. Let's just join them. You want to? Here we go. Sing along. Anytime you're ready, just jump in. I'm going to put a little vibe in there so you can find your place. But you're all worship leaders, so how much vibe do you need? Come on. Sing along whenever you're ready. Lord, we love you. Lord, we're just praying for all of us facing up to our various Goliaths tonight, that you would lift our eyes up higher. And give us grace to sing into the face of it tonight. To replace our praise of the giant with the name of Jesus. God, thank you for giving us breath. Raising us out of nowhere and giving us eternal God breath, Spirit. And we give it back to you. If the stars were made to worship you, God, we will worship you tonight. If the waves will roar your greatness, God, then we will rise up tonight and we will tell of the mighty works of our God. We come to join your symphony. We come with grateful hearts to take our place in the symphony of all creation and to say you are a great God and a great King above all gods and above all kings. And we give you our praise. We stand in awe of you, God. We stand in awe of who you are.